afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning. What's up, Vibe? It's your girl, Megan Michael. Hope everybody's good. How are you doing? How's life? What's your vibe like today? Today, we are actually having 3 people here today. We had 2 people last week. We had Justin and Thorn, and they were speaking about men in dance, and it was so good. We had amazing feedback. Everybody was talking about how they feel about men in dance and, you know, their sexual orientation and everything. But today we are speaking about the traveling dancer. What is a traveling dancer? Who is a traveling dancer? I chose this topic because in the Caribbean, we think that when we travel overseas, we think that, you know, we make it big. Or when overseas people come here, like Lion King, to audition us, this is our big break. Like, you know, this is the thing that is going to set us apart from all the other artists. So I wanted to speak to traveling dancers, musicians, artists about their experience and how they feel about going overseas, their cultural norms. Did they have to conform to it? How was it going overseas and looking at different people and how they speak and the language they use as artists, as well as was it worth it going overseas anyway when you still got to come out here? So yes, today we have, drum roll, Nandi Yard, Chantal Morton, and Johari Tate. Yes, thank you guys so much for coming. So first of all, let's cheers with water first. Cheers! And as healthy as we want to be, we're going to be eating pizza as well from Little Caesars. So everybody just take a slice, get some napkins, pass it around. Chantal, you eating pizza? Miss Keto? Okay, that's fine. We'll eat it. Hold a slice. Take it quickly. Yes. So, yeah, guys, dancers actually do eat pizza as well. Yeah? Y'all eat pizza?
Of course.
Oh, because I thought it was only me. So take the pizza quickly. Good. Just go for it. Just go for it. Pull it out. Yes. Yeah, don't be too bougie with it. Yeah, perfect. And for our camera girl, you want pizza too? No cheese on. Okay, guys. So, the traveling dancer. Before we go there, I just want to go on a quick speed round. Normally what we do is ask dancers what they like in terms of this or that. So this round is called this or that. So first one, do you like jumps or turns?
None.
Jumps.
Jumps?
It's going to be jumps for me too.
It would probably be jumps.
Jumps?
Yeah.
Talking about the turn split. Nandi, seriously?
My jumps also don't get off the ground. So
Bar work or locomotive movements across the floor?
I like bar work.
Bar.
across the floor.
Y'all serious?
Ballet girls to
Definitely
walk.
bar.
That is way.
It's true, bar. Which part of bar? You like tendus or you like
I
a
love
dodge?
rondejams.
A dodge.
A dodge? Rondejams?
Rondejams are my thing.
Yeah.
Ew.
Always.
Honestly.
Okay.
Just like you go in and you stretch, like, always.
Okay, cool. Would you prefer a solo, a duet, a trio, or a group piece?
A duet.
I like trios.
Trios? Why trio?
Because, like, I don't know, I like the balance of having, like, a point.
Odd number is a balance?
Yeah, for me, because
Okay.
obviously it's got a little, like, triangle.
Right, okay.
And you, at different points, I feel like you could feed off of whoever you're with. At different points. It's the same thing for singing to me as well. I prefer trios and I prefer duets.
What you like? Solo, of course. Don't do that. Don't play
I was
that.
actually going to say probably a trio or a group piece.
Okay.
Group piece so that I get points to go off them.
You
Breathe. I prefer solo because when I mess up, nobody will know.
We know,
But I mean,
true.
even when I mess up, people still won't
you know
know.
you are queen of the solo.
Even the group pieces.
Yes, you're really like
A duet.
a duet.
Yeah. I just like partnering. That's like my favorite thing.
Who's
to
your
do.
favorite duet dancer to work with?
If I don't say Justin,
Justin will kill you.
Coming for you.
but aside from Justin, I had a partner in school. His name is Oliver, and he was my favorite partner.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ollie,
Mhm.
come through. All right. What next? Okay, so we're gonna go straight into next segment, which is what's in your dance bag. Tell me, what is your guilty pleasure in your dance bag?
I want to say, like, I always have some kind of like massager in my dance bag.
Okay.
To like get my joints right. So guilty pleasure, I guess sometimes I use a vibrator. Can we say that?
Wait, what?
That's right.
What? And your dance
Smaller ones. So you know if you got like a cramp under your like arch, you just like jam it.
Wow. Okay.
Everybody's face right there.
Y'all don't know the vibe.
So, guys, y'all heard that? Chantal uses a vibrator on her
The
feet.
small one.
Okay. I hope you sanitize it clearly and
I only use it for my feet, Megan. Thank you.
okay, cool. Anybody else?
I feel like anything after that is just not
It's not up to par, you know.
It works wonders on my Achilles. Y'all don't know.
Okay. All right, Keely. Okay. Nani.
First of all, dance bag. You mean like dance card, like the entire back seat full of clothes? I don't know. I really.
Nani, I feel as though you got football shoes in your dance bag.
I also do.
Ridiculous.
Correct. It's a big bag.
Some type of costume piece that you forget in your dance bag.
Why are you reading me like this?
Because I know you, Nani.
You are also correct. I
Like
can't
lash glue, because you stick it on us to get there.
everything. Everything.
Arrows and everything.
I can't think of a guilty pleasure in it though.
Okay.
Just things that I think I might need.
No snacks or anything?
My hopes and dreams. Nah, I'm not really a snacker person.
Okay. Okay.
Not to
Anything
class,
else?
anyways.
I feel like I have basic things. Like I have a tennis ball,
Uh-huh.
TheraBand, moleskin, always. But I always also have gummy bears or
Oh,
gummy worms or popcorn. Like
Okay.
those two things always in my bag.
cool. That's nice. Okay. If it was something that, as dancers here in Barbados, I know you guys travel, but we normally order our laters on Discount Dance or somewhere else. If we had the opportunity to have a dance building that sells clothes, what would you have from there? Like, what would you be like? You know, like how you have Sephora and you Chantal are always going to Sephora and taking out something from there.
I'm better now. Okay?
What would you go into this dance shop to buy often?
I feel like I'm always out of hairpins, to be honest. So
Okay.
Hairpins,
I feel we could get out here
I
regardless.
know, but like something about those bun heads, hairpins, they just be
Different.
Stick.
Hit different, okay.
dance skirts too. I love a good wrap skirt. To
Wrap
walk
skirt.
in and out of rehearsal.
Okay.
And proper. This is the opera singer. The proper character shoes, like proper
Okay.
Laducas or something.
Nice.
Laducas. Period.
I was probably only going in there for shoes.
Yeah.
Only dance shoes.
Yeah, some type of dance shoe.
Yeah.
It's a
I like
favorite
sassy laters. Like
You
you
do
only
love
get
it.
good laters on Discount Dance that last long and that are
Yeah.
strappy and cute and stuff like
I
that.
haven't shopped
So
there in a while. I must
Yeah.
say. I
It's
have
been
not.
like 4 years.
Yeah,
honestly.
like when we were here, yes, all the time.
sure.
yeah.
I haven't seen a disco dance in a while.
Yeah. I mean, I like leggings. I live in leggings. I have too many leggings and I want more. So leggings.
You should start your own leggings line then.
I mean, if
Branding.
anybody's watching, just let me know.
Tight.
All right,
Like,
guys.
copyright that real quick.
So that's cool. That's a good segment. So we know what's in your dance bag and we know what you prefer. Now, normally I do a quote poll where you pull a quote and you tell me what it means to you. But I think it's kind of like giving it away too much. I want you to think a little bit more. So what is a quote that you live by as a dancer or anything in life that has put you through or get you through hard times, or just like some people say, you know, YOLO, you live once. For me, is lose your mind and come to your senses. But what is yours?
I'm gonna pull up mine now.
Okay, you could think about it a little bit.
I really looked at mine yesterday, and it is: if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pay good.
Ooh, all right, you need to slow that down for me. You need to slow it down.
Okay.
So go again.
If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pay good. Obviously, you would change play to like sing or dance or act, but still, because everything's a play.
Yeah.
That's by Deion Sanders.
Okay.
American football.
And how do you like relate that to life? Like, how do you put that in?
I mean, it's just like once I know for auditions, like I show up like if I'm already the lead, like I show up like this is already my rehearsal space. Like you're already paying me to be here. You are in my presence for a reason.
Yeah.
And so that.
Don't call me, I'll call you.
Yeah, like don't. It's like here's my resume just by chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, and I feel like that just puts me in a better mind space for just to go in there and basically be judged, because that's all we're being done, judged constantly.
Right.
So if I'm in the space so that you aren't judging me, I'm giving you something that I want to give you. You're not taking anything away from me, then it makes you feel a lot better.
That's a good quote. Yeah. And that's a good way to flip it.
She answered it for us all, no?
No, she didn't. Everybody has something different.
Mine is a quote by Agnes DeMille, and it is, to dance is to be out of yourself, larger, more beautiful, more powerful. It is beauty on earth, and it is yours for the taking.
Oh, she remember that?
No, I've known this for like, it's been like 10 years. It's like my one thing. Because people always ask, like, how does it feel like to be on stage, and how to, like nobody really understands, and it's so hard to explain. But like that quote that's just exactly what it is to me.
That's perfect. Nandi?
Sorry to disappoint you guys.
I was like, go get him.
Yeah, like go guys.
Don't fall asleep.
Don't fall asleep.
I actually can't. Again, I don't have a quote. I would say for me, for performances, before I usually have a period where I'm there coaching myself or what's about to happen on the stage, and a lot of it has to do with making sure that I express what I'm really feeling or the message that I'm trying to get across in this performance. So whether it's to be confident here, make them feel happy from my performance, because I probably feel super happy on the inside, and sharing that, which is that's kind of the line that I go down most of the time. But if it is a deep message, that I am portraying that message properly. So it's a little mental something. I guess that's my quote moment, but I don't have the words
So
for
like
it yet.
a cheerleader moment.
Yeah.
In their outer body kind of thing. Cool. That's great. Okay, guys. So we're going to go into the meat of the matter. So as I said in the beginning, the reason I chose traveling dancers is because there's this thing in our minds, and it does not even have to be a traveling dancer. I find like cricketers get a lot of like forward because they go and play for the West Indies. They travel all around the world. They come back here. You know, it seems like you've lived a better life because you travel overseas. And I wanted to delve into the life and the mind of a dancer going overseas and thinking of, is it really worth it? Or did you get anything back from it? Or can you give back what you've learned overseas here? Is it a waste of money or a waste of your life being here as a Barbadian and not give back in a way that you've learned so much and you keep it all the way over there and not bring it back and teach people what you've learned out there? So there's so much to go into, but I want to go first by asking you specifically your stories and telling me how it affects you as a traveling dancer, and if you've been chosen or you've gone overseas to pursue dance in a way. So take it ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess it's me first.
And y'all can eat the pizza, like it just getting cold.
Yeah.
Smacking noises.
Let me see. Okay, how did I start? I feel like I started really, really young, probably like 5 or 6, and I started at Louise. And then I did a couple summer intensives, one in Canada and then one in Colorado. And then that was when I was really like, okay, I'm going to be a dancer. Let me take this seriously. And once I was 16, I left and I went to Interlocking Arts Academy, where I was a dance major. I did like my last 2 6 form years. And then I did my BFA at University of Arizona. And now I am a dancer for Norwegian Creative Studios.
Ooh, that's on the ship, right?
Yes.
Okay, you're with Josiah? Not Josiah, Michelle?
No, he works for a different company that I will not mention.
Okay, celebrity.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, as a traveling dancer, let me know, why did you choose that school? What piqued up to you? Why did you decide to go overseas, first of all? Wait, weren't there enough resources here to learn dance?
I think here I had kind of reached my peak, and I was like, well, if I really want to do it seriously, then I have to leave. Like, I have to train with the best people and with like the best teachers that I possibly could at the time. So that's why I left. In choosing my schools, it was really and truly for university, it was really weather and money, like scholarship, and I could not live in a cold place anymore. So I went to Arizona, which is very hot, like two ends of the spectrum. But it was just for a different experience, because I feel like you watch so many YouTube videos and you're like, oh my gosh, these people are so good, but then you can't measure yourself against them if you don't dance with them, you know? And for me to be a better dancer, I had to do that. So I had to leave.
Okay.
For me.
Cool, that's interesting. Okay. Chantal.
Joe and I had the same start. We both went to Louise, and it was pretty similar.
Shout out to Louise. Wow.
Shout out. Dance Academy. So for me, it was both music and dance driven. And I was honestly, up until leaving, I was still torn between what I wanted, like which one I wanted to go with. And like Joe said, I would have done summer intensives as well, mostly in New York. And when it came down to me choosing schools, I remember I took a tour of Juilliard.
Juilliard?
Juilliard. I took a tour of Juilliard, and I have friends that were there at the time. Julia was their head lead. And I would have gone to see some of the productions that they put on. I did both their opera program and their dance program. I went to see just to like sass out the people. And the dancers they weren't hitting girls. The dancers, that personality just was not there for me. So I was like, okay, so dance at Juilliard is not gonna work out because these people, it's just, I don't know, it would probably been because it's New York as well. The vibe around dance is just very snooty, very competitive, and I'm so used to here being a part of a family all the time, very nurturing. So I didn't like that vibe, so I ended up choosing music instead.
Ooh, sis got options. Come through. And makeup too. Yeah.
She's unemployed. But yeah, so I decided to go with the music route. And similar to Joe Harry, it's like we have teachers that are very capable here, but if you have a serious talent, we hit ceiling quite fast. And then so you're young, but you look at people on the internet and you're like, they're younger than I am. They are doing triples, jumps, this, that, and that. Especially because I think at that time competition dance was what was most popular anyway. So it was all about the tricks. So we're trying here now to learn all these tricks and stuff.
By the way, competition dance is not dancing, that's gymnastics.
I hate
with a reach.
I hate it.
Especially gymnastics right now.
Yeah, it's just gymnastics.
Flip, turn, and then a reach.
Right.
And a few fuertes, that's it.
Love a fuerte.
So you start to, you kind of start to feel, I don't know, not inferior, but you yearn for more. So you're like, okay, well, what I need is overseas. Because we would have tried it. We would have been in these studios every day. Oh, let's try these fuertes, let's do this, let's do that. And our teachers could help, but at the same time, we were missing like core information that would have taken those things to the next level, taken those tricks, taken our interpretations, like how we move our bodies to the next level. So you kind of had to leave. And so that was it for me. Like I had to leave. It was just.
Can I ask you a question there? You said take your body to the next level. So how I view things as a Caribbean person, and I say Caribbean because most people in the Caribbean are black. Our bodies move differently, based on one, the climate, and we're black. So if you're studying ballet, your body is definitely not gonna look the same as a Caucasian or Asian person.
Yeah.
So when you say take your body to the next level, being just because you're here in Barbados, that doesn't mean anything. Even if you go overseas, it probably might stay the same. Or we probably don't even know where our bodies could go, even if we're here or not. It's just a thing that is in my mind. Like, okay, it's, like, rather it's here or not, your body is still gonna push it wherever it goes. It's just a mental thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it comes down to almost. We speak about code switching with voices, but it's code switching with bodies as well.
Yeah.
Because you're very aware how we move here,
Mm-hmm.
the importance of different parts of our body parts that we move here versus what they would confine or refine overseas, and it really does depend because obviously they're gonna move differently in America than they move in Europe. Same thing with voice. Like, we sing completely differently in those types of auditions. Like, you know what to use and what not to use. And so it's more about broadening the vocabulary that I had to speak with my body with.
Okay, I get
so
that.
that's what that was.
I get that. I understand. Cool. So, no, before we go on to Nandi, I can ask both of you. You're here in Barbados right now. You came back for COVID? Like, why are you here?
Because my visa said, girl, get out. Girl, I'm not renewing it because the theaters are closed.
Okay.
So that's why I'm here. But
you plan to go back overseas?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, COVID, and so my contract was supposed to end in April, but because of COVID, it ended in March.
Okay.
So I came back home early. I was gonna come back anyways, just to have a break. But that was the main reason I'm here. I plan to leave again.
So you both of your plans are not to stay in Barbados, but to still go and explore and widen your vocabulary in dance or music.
I think at least for my performing career, it will be overseas. I'm not like completely ruling out coming back eventually, but performing definitely not to stay
yeah,
here.
if I come back here, it will be come back to like share knowledge and to teach. Like, that's always in the plan. But performance wise, like, I need to touch more stage. Like, period.
Pooh.
Period.
Cool. All right, my love. So their stories are different because they've chosen to go to school and they had this plan to broaden their vocabulary in dance and music. But Miss Missy was chosen. She was the chosen one. Can you give us, I think I know your story from the time you say you going to Trinidad for 2 weeks and end up going to the stage and he started the stage. Like, we know, but I want a full play of part 1, 2, 3. Actually asking you to go to Trinidad with you just randomly like that. Like, it wasn't even carnival or nothing. It was just like January.
It was right.
Like, I want everything. Tell us everything.
So to take it
Tell
back,
me the weather on the day. I want to know everything. Let me go.
To take it back, I am on a different side of the spectrum from the lovely ladies here, because I came up more in a folk African setting and more like the cultural dances of Barbados. So that would be between Dance in Africa. There was Ethno Generation with Tyrone Trotman, Mega Trotty, Danny Hayes. Similar to Megan, I think I knew you basically my whole life in dance. For me, as a lot of the dancers in our section, in our genre, there isn't, I don't want to say that there isn't a future, but I want to say that maybe it's not as mapped out as other genres here. Like, whereas in Bali,
it's not popular.
Yeah, like there's, I don't really see a future.
The
path definitely isn't clear.
Popular is just like where
The structure of it, right? Exactly that.
Past the Caribbean.
Yeah, so for me, part of it was like, I know that the ballet side, I did a couple years of ballet. I don't think it's for my body. I was trying to tuck that butt under and it was not going anywhere. So it was like, that's not for me. I think that is probably not going to work out for me. I would say little things like, you know, I just here finishing up at school till Marshall or Rihanna come pick me up, take me somewhere, or like I would halftime dance at a basketball game, and those were just things far in my mind, but I had no clue how I was ever going to reach that point. So I went with the more academic side of it and still dance on the side. Because, like I say, most dancers here, they would dance in a hotel circuit on the evening, which is, I think, probably the most popular. There are one or two that might teach.
We hopping from hotel to hotel every single week.
I do not know.
You go from one hotel to the next and just making that little money.
Yeah. So and then at the same time, most of them still work a 9 to 5.
Right.
So my thing was to figure out my 9 to 5 and dance on the side because I
so school as well.
Yeah, because I personally didn't have a vision for myself of how to get there and how to do it. So that's what I went with, and that's kind of how I ended up in Trinidad because Ashley was going back to collect something from school. This was right before Carnival. I always wanted to do Trinidad Carnival, but again, how am I going to get there? Where's the money going to come from? So we went before she messaged me and was like, I booked my flight for Trinidad. I was like, cool. I go into book 2 and I jump in on your package. I jump in on your flight, staying with you, etc. And she was telling me, she always talks about the dance culture in Trinidad from when she was there studying. So she was describing that there are a bunch of different classes you could go to, like schedule. You could go to different schools and stuff like that. So that's basically what we did for the 2 weeks. I took about 16 dance classes. Like, we got off the plane and went straight to the dance
Shout out to Trinidad in the Soul Dance label. Who's my other training people?
I also went to a lot of classes at L.
Yes.
There's SDA.
Yeah.
I'm hoping not forgetting anybody. So yeah, I went to a lot of their classes from one school to the next school, jumping in between. And for me, it was just about collecting as much data, as much information as I can in this short space of time. Also, healing queens just pop into my head.
Yeah.
And in some of those classes, I went to Turbo's class, which is the choreographer for Marshall. Y'all would have met Turbo sometime. He came to Barbados before.
He came to Barbados 2015 and did a workshop with us. 2014 and 2015 and did a workshop. Actually, on social media marketing as well. So he was kind of ahead of everything because he had a whole PowerPoint presentation on, and I'm like, legit.
Yes, terms.
I will never forget. And at that time, like, nobody didn't really care about Instagram or likes, and it'd be like, likes don't mean anything, to be quite honest. But as a dancer, you need to show the people out there that doesn't know about this world that it exists and we matter. So Turbo had this mindset of, marketing yourself as a dancer specifically, not as a group, but as a dancer. And he had his PowerPoint presentation and how you should show the type of movements and give tutorials and on YouTube and tagging and hashtags. I'm like, what is this? What are you talking about? Like, we don't care about this. But 2020, no, like, sis doing it. So yes, we're back onto the stage. Let us know. We need details. You're at the study stage. Mars and Turbo saw you. Then what?
Like, we need a count by count.
Yeah, literally a count by count. We need what happened.
What happened on 5 and 6?
Oh dear.
I mean, on the ends too.
It's true.
Let us know.
It's the head.
So I was really just in a party, enjoying myself as usual. This was my last night before I go back to Barbados, and they pulled me. They were performing, enjoying their performance. They like point me out from the back and call me forward, and they looked at Ashley and I was like, should I go? She was like, I'll hold your purse. I was like, okay. So they went up on the stage, and the entire time I was just like, well, you're here now. Ain't no turning back. So just go, count by count. Turn, split, back up, back up.
You missed the head.
The weight lash.
Thank you.
Guys,
That's my favorite part.
As much as Nandi is this thing on stage and big, she is very quiet. She is very introverted. She's
public speaking right now. You should see my hands.
Sweating. All of that. That's just like a different part. I call Keeks. Well, right now, what's your name? Devon. So we have our like alter egos that we go on stage, and that's another thing that is beautiful about dance. We can just transform and become this thing for just like 2 minutes or 30 seconds, and I think that's what happened to you. Like, you just went into this zone that actually many people can't really explain it. Only dancers could feel it.
Yeah.
So
that's the adrenaline rush. I just describe it as adrenaline rush.
A split personality.
Yeah.
So right after that, then you went back home. Or what was the conversation after that?
I was home and Turbo messaged me and asked if he could call me, and I was like, okay. And I don't remember what I was home doing. I remember by the time he hung up, I was running circles in my living room, and I was like, Ashley. He called me back. He called me back and asked me to come. He asked if I could come because they think they were about to start up their carnival run for that year. Yeah. Well, carnival in Trinidad for that. The same carnival that I wanted to go to.
Yeah.
Didn't know how it was
I
going
was
to
like,
get
what,
there.
2016?
That was God. Said you want to go? Go work.
It's true.
That's true. 2017?
I think 2017.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I was still at UE at that time, and they asked if I could come back. So it was like, how are you going to work this out with school? But I'll figure it out. I'll be there. And I left, I think, the same weekend or something. But
I also danced in the hotel because then we had to like try
It's
to
true.
switch Nandi on some days, and Nandi would tell us,
No.
okay guys, I'm
The
gonna be
reblock
here
was
this
hot.
day, this day, this day, and then next day somebody else coming in. Nandi's like, oh, you back today, so it's just a lot of
Yeah.
reshuffling for a
Very
lot of
much so.
stuff. So yeah,
both in dance circle and at school, but my teachers
And football.
were everything.
and cheerleading.
Oh, shoot, you was sharing that still. Girl.
Some of everything. But my teachers were pretty understanding about it. They sent me work online, and I had classmates that were working with me, and then Masha was also very open to sending me back whenever I needed to come back. So I came back to do exams in between, or to do labs and send them in, or I would be going to shows and still typing up labs to send off. I remember there were times that I probably had 2 shows one night. While I was studying on the way to the show, went straight to the airport, came, did a test, went back to the airport, went back to Trinidad. I had another 2 shows that night. Like, it started to get crazy, but I feel like we were kind of accustomed doing it here, so it wasn't like that big
Because
of a
I
reach
feel
for me.
before Marshall, you always used to come dancing with books.
It's
Always
true.
a whole set
That
of
was her
books.
guilty pleasure.
Or then you could have seen that. Because even when
Science
we were
books.
doing
Yeah.
like NIFCA and stuff, you would come with a big backpack and just lay down on the floor and do your work and probably drop asleep. And then when it's time for Nandi, get her leg pop. Like nothing. Like this girl was just doing work. But yeah, so I get you.
I had to find time to structure in the other things that needed to be done. So it was like any moment I had free time, do the schoolwork or anything
Okay.
else.
Sleep.
Or sleep.
That's what she's
love
doing.
sleep.
She's 5 minutes? Okay.
Sleep and then walk on the stage. I used to do that.
So tell me, Nandi, let's go into the cultural norms now. How was it different in rehearsals? Was it different doing rehearsals for that process and then traveling and doing rehearsals if you did have rehearsals? Because I think you guys had a set.
Yeah.
So it'd be a set thing for all these shows. So did you switch up things? How was the costuming? Was it a costuming process? Was it different? Is the leader different than the leader's hair? How was the communication? Like,
I would say it was still very comfortable to me because it was basically what we do here around Cropover, but now on a way bigger scale or where we would want it to be. So in terms of the rehearsals for all those hours going through a set, like times that I dance with Soca Cartel, so it's just a Soca Cartel set that we rehearse into. So now it's now on a bigger scale for Marshall, or we have sound check. But instead of being at
NCF.
NCF or She
Running into pillars.
Or Kensington.
I'm triggered.
wherever that show is, no.
Is in
It's
arenas.
Or wherever that performance is for the night, and you going from one performance to the next. But sometimes you might gotta take a bus there, whereas I might just be running backstage and changing and jumping back on.
Right, okay.
So it kind of was the same thing. Oh, costume wise. We had a stylist for the most part. We had a makeup artist. At times we had a massage therapist that was staying there with me.
Okay, massage therapist. Come through the body. Yes, keep it tight, keep it right. Okay.
It was a different but still very similar, because now I'm living there and I'm there to dance, so I get her, I rehearse, I probably go to the gym, take dance classes in between, perform later on the night. Like, no, I'm full-fledged into
Dance mode.
yeah. So that to me was the step up and the difference. It was still very family oriented. Everybody was very accepting, even though it was a foreigner. But they were
Alright, you're the only Bajan. But the entire
Yeah.
band is Bajan, so
yeah,
It's
there's
true.
also that. So wherever there was comfort, there was still a settle.
Right.
Big up the Bajan musicians.
all right then.
We are clearly the
Who's
best.
on? Who's on? Darren. Hi,
Yeah.
Darren
Darren.
Bailey. Shout out to you. Malik Alec. Is Alec?
Melvin.
Melvin Alec.
So there's Darian, Dwayne Androbus, Melvin, I'm forgetting people.
Nikita was a backup singer at one point.
You also got Nathan on camera too.
Nathan on camera, Day on camera. Jamar is another one from Host a Day who's also there.
And Chantal around.
Chantal is always there.
Sis.
It's the Bajans for me.
There's Ryan that is the musical engineer, and there's also Shamar Coombs. So I always had a bunch of people around me, and then I'm the foreigner in their space. They were also very open.
Okay.
And it was so very family oriented. They would take me to other dance classes if they were running by. Everything, the trip be good.
That's good. That's good. So let's talk about traveling. Traveling as a dancer. The actual thing about traveling. How is it like going to rehearsals, traveling from one place to the next? You speak about being in the cold. Was it easy to travel from one place to the next if you had rehearsals? Whereas here in Barbados, you got a 7 o'clock rehearsal. You could easily leave at 6:45 because there's not much traffic or there's no snow.
Or y'all was just short late. Y'all are sick here.
Like, compare traveling process and the difference between Barbados and the U.S.
Honestly, like I get ready an hour earlier than I actually have to, because
Where? Here?
overseas.
Overseas, okay.
Because if you're on time,
You're late.
You're late, you know.
Oh.
And then
late.
you also got to factor in, like, if you're rehearsing and you had class that morning, but rehearsal at 6 o'clock at night, you're not warm. So if you show up at 6 o'clock, rehearsal at 6 o'clock, and you legs and jumps and things happen, and then you out for however long.
It's true.
So you got to factor in, like, at least 20 minutes of warm up time. Like, if I'm walking, I know I can get there in 10 minutes, but if I have to take an Uber or something, suppose the Uber's late, suppose there's traffic, like, you have to factor in so many things because you're working with people that expect, like, the best all the time. And even, like, if you're just in school, like, you can't just show up late because it affecting everybody that showed up on time and ready to work. And you can't really be that person that's just, like...
So you're saying that the dance etiquette overseas is way better than here?
Yes.
Just say that's all you had to say.
I feel like it also depends. It also depends though, because I remember at Louise we were always early.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
would always show early because we're those girls. We want to sit down. We want warm up. We want to go through all the exercises. And when I started going over to like NCF and like rehearsals with y'all,
don't call names. Do not call names.
already just said it.
I mean the building, not whoever we dancing with, but when I started dancing like on the more like local scale, I would say y'all.
Yeah.
How when I mean rehearsal is 7 and we starting at 10.
I mean, they're not even a stretch. That's so true.
And it makes sense because as Nandi saying, most of you guys have like the 9 to 5 situations that you gotta make it work. So you're like making it work. Whereas over where we were, for a lot of us, this was where we already planned to be. We were already really serious. We were working schedule wise because obviously there are classes before and after us. So there's no showing up late. When we're rehearsing during class time.
Okay.
So that's the only time you have. So then when I got overseas now, I already had that training. So I'm always early, always early. I'm always the first person in rehearsal. And the people that run the rehearsal realize that and they like love you for it because they know they love that. They like on every time I've worked on a show, the directors or the stage managers are always like, Chantal's always here. She's always punctual. She's always the first body to like sign in. Like we know if anything is going wrong, she's already here, so we don't have to worry about that. And you would think that is something small, but that gets you leads as well because they're like, well, we know she's gonna be here. So
and it also like brings down the pressure and anxiety on you and the choreographer.
Oh yeah,
because you don't gotta feel like, oh my god, I
hate to rush. I love to sit in my dressing room and stare at the wall.
Right.
Yeah. I hate to rush because again, as Joe said, we have warm up times, and for me, I got warm up voice and I got warm up body. So I need the specific times for both of those things to allot so that by the time I hit stage, everything is fully warmed, everything is working. And that dance mentality that I would have grown here is definitely what helped me for all those years that I was doing music. Because when I was at school, I wasn't dancing as heavily. We would have like dance for singers or whatever that case may be. And I would just be in the side doing whatever I want to do because the teachers don't worry about me. But when I started working outside of school and had to implement dance, I was like, oh God, thank God, because I would have struggled.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been a lot less employable if I was not on time all the time.
That's interesting.
And that's so important too, like in casting.
Mm-hmm.
Like people think like the best person gets the role,
Nope.
but really and truly, like, it's your attitude and you being willing to work and they knowing that you are going to be there, like, and know what you're doing.
I always make sure that, like, in audition spaces, that I'm a front ass bitch. Can we curse? I'm always in the center.
You just did.
Like, Jahari could tell you I'm always in the center. Like, that's just where I like to be. And then Jahari showed up in my class and I had to share it. But it's okay. But yeah, but coming with that, obviously you're directly in front of them. And so the culture is different. The people that are looking at me, they don't know me. Whereas if I'm here, every dance teacher would know who I am. Every like music teacher would know who I am. So they will already have like a preconceived notion of what I'm like in rehearsals. But now I have to show rehearsal Chantal in an audition space. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the time that just shows with like me showing up, me having everything on me at the same time, not having to run outside, always just being super prepared. And I think a lot of it also just familiarly for us, how we help each other. I think when directors see that you're willing to help somebody that's next to you, like, oh, what's the count, then they're a lot better. Like, they know how you're going to function in a class, in a cast format.
Nice. Okay, let's talk about cultural identity. And I'm going to keep going on you for this one because not only are you an opera singer, but you are a social media guru, makeup advocate. Yes. Y'all following the 30 days of Halloween. That's what we call it.
31 days of hell.
Right. And I think that you have such a huge following and you can connect. You find a way to connect Barbadian culture with, New York or wherever you are. And you always infuse who you are, where you are. Let's talk about cultural identity. Do you feel that you have to sticking yado exhibition anywhere you are, or make sure that people know Barbadians can do this too? Do you feel you need to separate yourself from your identity as a Bajan sometimes, or switch up the way how you speak or sing? Singing, of course, because your diction may be a little different. When you sing as a Barbadian versus having an American or a UK accent. So let's dissect that.
I will say, obviously we're very aware that we are not, in America, we're not in the UK or whatever, but you're never really truly affronted with it until you really leave. So I think I was in like an English diction class, and so English diction is basically, as it says, we are singing majority in English for that class, but we sing in different accents, different dictions, as you would call them. And how we speak. So I would speak what I'm singing. We would say it first. And the song that I was singing, or the aria that I was singing, I didn't necessarily have to have like a heavy British accent or a heavy American accent. It was, we like to call it mid-Atlantic, which is in the middle, which is like newscast accent. And one of the words, so it was rhyming here, fair, and there. So obviously we say here, fair, and there. My teacher literally, and this is when I would have had to stop and been like, no, I'm not from here, just so you can understand, because I am black in the space of all white people. So their first impression is that I'm going to be African American, and then second after that is that I'm inferior, and then third after that is that I'm less educated. So
that's deep.
So I was reading it, girl. I felt that. I was reading it, and my teacher stopped me. She's like, "What are you saying?" And I was like, "What do you mean what I'm saying?" And she's like, "It's fear and here and there." And I'm like, fair, here, there. Like, I said what I said. And this would have been like the first week of school. So like here I am, like, yeah, I'm in a new place. Like, I love this for me. And I'm coming in, sing my big aria, and here's somebody talking to me, like basically saying that
talking down to you.
Yeah, talking down to me because of how I speak or what my accent is. And I've never had to deal with that a day in my life. So just like experiencing that in like the first week of school that shut me down for like, I won't say half the term. Like, I was not getting up, I was not singing. That was a waste of money at that point because school was expensive. Like that in itself And there were more things like that happened, just like how I pronounce my name. She was like, "That's not how you pronounce your name." I'm like, "But it's my name," because we like, and again, it's accent wise. We double stress things. So my name is Chantal,
vowels,
right?
yeah.
And they're like, "No, it's Chantal," and I'm like, "It's not." So like even like spelling our name, something as simple as like spelling and putting the stresses where you would say your name, they would have had an issue with. So I would have clearly had to say, "Look at my ID. I know y'all see my headshot is in front of the ocean," because I had taken it at St. Lawrence Gap. I remember I literally like took it right there where like where Pisces used to be, that little open area by the water. Boats in the back. I had yachts in the back. Yeah. Y'all can see
Coast Guard.
Coast Guard, but y'all can see I'm not
worthy.
from here. So so I had to almost make it part of my identity forcibly. But in the beginning, I tried to not hide it, but you almost try to diminish it because you do want to fit in. And then I realized there's no way I'm going to fit in. I'm the only black person in this class. And deep, but not so deep, because obviously it was problematic thinking. I was like, I don't want them to think I'm African American either, because that has a different connotation that I'm not prepared for.
Yeah.
And I would have had to face that lots of times, because when they would realize that I'm not.
That's a serious identity crisis there,
It's
though.
serious, because I'm here trying to split myself in three. For no reason.
So you're black, you're female, and you're Caribbean.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to split so that they find me more palatable.
Ooh, yes, come through this.
Because that's exactly what that is. Like, you're trying, especially because we are West Indian, so we have such a, not abrasive, but we have a very frank way of saying things. Like, we're not trying to
sugarcoat anything.
We're not trying to pander. And I think obviously the best part that we will have here is that we are constantly working with people that sound like us, that look like us. So then we get into that space and it's like you're like thrown to the water. You're like, oh, I don't know. Even something as simple as like, I don't know if y'all have it, but in Bali, we would touch whatever bar we want. There is like, you gotta be on the left. And I'm like, first off, who said? Because I remember going to class and my hand touched that bar so fast. When I told you, the teacher yelled, "Take your hand off the bar."
I remember I started my first ballet class with my right hand on the bar, and everybody was facing me.
Facing the back. And you're like, oh, this is center stage.
Oh, I'm wrong. Okay.
So she was like, oh, no. That's exactly what that is. So there's so many like tiny things that you're like dissecting and trying to cover.
Conform too.
And then by the end, I was like, I'm me. Let's get on with it. And by that time, when I decided to just like be myself, is when I started raking in more leads, more attention, all that sort of stuff, because I wasn't trying to hide anything at that point. So yeah.
You had anything that you felt uncomfortable with as a Barbadian? Were you in a predominantly white school as well?
Yeah, so I mean, Interlaken was very international, so I didn't really have any problems there. They even had like international week, and we would cook.
Interlaken's
like,
that place.
It was like, it was like a very racially diverse bubble.
Okay.
Everybody was very accepting. College was a different story. I was in Arizona, Republican state.
Oh,
let's just preface that.
Okay.
And I think actually, like, now thinking about it, that was probably why I love college, but like the experience itself was just so difficult, because like you walk into a room and you realize that you're the only black person, and like that alone is pressure, because you like there is almost like this thing that you feel like you have to prove that you belong in that space.
Wow.
And then on top of that, like some people, like my accent, university, it's so shame. But like it definitely flattened out, because people were like, what are you saying? Can you repeat? And I was just repeating
so you
myself
literally had to change
over.
yourself to
You just get tired.
It's just so annoying, you know? So like my accent flattened out, and at some point people would be like, oh yeah, like where are you from? And I say Barbados, and they're like, no, like where are you from? And I was like, Barbados. And they're like, and you know, like that face they make where they're like, okay, I know it's not in the US, but I don't know what you're talking about. Like always that face. So there was so much pressure to do well and prove myself, because like
Again, because of these three things, you're a female, you're black, and you're West Indian.
You're just really trying to break down
also,
so much.
I think for me, I felt like in most of these spaces that I went into, I knew that I was probably the first Bajan to go. And so for me, I wanted it to be that if anybody else came after me, like
it would be easier.
It was easier for them. because people knew what to expect. Like, this person was gonna work. Like, don't think that they're less than because they didn't go to school in the US and they come from a country that you know nothing about, and they have a different accent to you. Like, they already, like, the foundation is kind of already there.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's a different layer because we were the first people. Like, I would have been the first person at my school that would have been from Barbados as well.
Yeah.
So like, you really are trying to lay a foundation while also teaching people around you to be more tolerant, while also trying to prove that you belong there. You're not like, you know, you're not one of the ones that's just like paying to go here. You like really belong
or just get a
there.
scholarship.
Yeah.
Just because.
So I wish they just gave away scholarships just because.
Okay, so let's end it off here with this question. Was it worth it? Was it worth it to go overseas? Was it worth it to travel with Marshall? Did you think you got the exposure that you wanted, or you think you could do more now and in the future? And because we're in COVID, we have so much time to think about like this is what we really want to go back and do. Or was it worth it being chosen? Was it worth it going somewhere else? Like, tell me.
Well, to me, it was definitely worth it. Like they said, I felt like I had reached my peak in Barbados too, which is why I wanted to get classes elsewhere. So my closest and easiest stop was Trinidad first, and that opened so many doors. And now, because that has opened so many doors, and I get further and further till there's a point like now we're trying to, yes, there's soca dance, but it's not really a genre as most people say. So now not to toot my own horn, but I'm one of the people out there trying.
You better not with chocolate ass. You better not.
I paved the way.
You better not pave that way.
Just
our ancestors are watching.
The way. I mean, trying to help it get a structure.
Okay.
It is not anything new, but trying to make a structure of it so that it is not more acceptable, but like it's easier to share with the rest of the world and not just seen as a, oh, that's just how they party or that's just how they live.
Okay.
Also, from being there, I get to be, or not, I'm happy to be the middleman, now making connections. So I send in my people here videos of dance groups from Trinidad, and they're making connections, and I seeing people traveling in between, and then I end up teaching workshops in different Caribbean islands or in the US or wherever it is, and bringing people to our culture as well, and showing them what we have to offer. And I hope that it gets to a point where I could actually facilitate the process to send some people up there and like even bring in those same international dancers that we've been talking about to Barbados. So it was definitely worth it for me. I feel like gaining experience is always a good thing. So if you can get out there and get experience from somewhere else, do that. I'm yet to reach the motherland and dance in the African villages.
That's where you want me to, girl.
Exactly.
That's somewhere in West Africa. Just giving me some
Kicking up sand.
kicking up some dirt, man.
Exactly.
Kicking up sand. Like, I'm real hot watching this.
Yeah, so very much so. Until then, you know, just rocking it till we reach somebody else, you know.
Right, so Chantal, was it worth it?
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. I feel like for me, because I like to know the differences between things and how I can blend them as much as possible, because I feel once I know the differences between things, I can figure out where I fit a lot better or where I can maximize my talents. So as Nani said, if you could get out, or not get out, but if you can leave and experience more, then find a way to do it, because it's going to obviously make you better, or it will at least make you more tolerant or like empathetic to the art that you're trying to be in.
Yeah.
Also, I think based on you specifically, you found your niche in makeup as well, and expressing, like blending opera singing.
That's because the people at my productions couldn't do my makeup.
Really? Because it was wrong complexion.
Yeah.
See?
And I was like, y'all not about to have me on stage as the lead
Ghost.
casket ready. Y'all not about to do that to me for my $1 million I pay you for school.
Right. So, and you just, like, right now, if you're watching her on social media, she is doing the Halloween looks. And within those looks, sis is giving us vocals. Like, she's singing. She's legit singing and giving character. And I think that is so good that you could blend all your talents together.
I want to pause and plug in the folk
Yes, she's been giving us Laja Blast, Mother Sally. She's been giving us all of the cultural folklores, not only in Barbados but in Trinidad and in Grenada and everywhere. So you've been educating us, sis. Thank you.
That's what I do.
So was it worth it?
Definitely worth it. I think I have such a broader knowledge than I would have if I just stayed. And I think the dream that I had when I decided that I want to be a dancer here has evolved and it's changed, and I'm doing something that I never thought that I would do, and I'm so happy doing it, and I wouldn't have had it if I hadn't left. And I feel like everything is like changing now. Like people are more like this podcast, like I love this idea. Like, you know, like reaching so many people and letting people know that people are doing it.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you want to, people are doing it and have done it, and well, like if you have questions, like ask.
Yeah.
Because
the information is accessible to you.
Yeah, we want to help people come up and do the same thing and do better than we're doing now. So like, just do it.
And it was very much in that place of, like I said, I didn't necessarily have a pathway or a vision. So like to me, Aisha was a big influencer on that, and she opened a lot of doors and gave me some sight to a lot of things. But know that there are people that are doing it.
You're not one of those people.
Aisha also did go overseas too. She went to Jamaica.
Yeah.
So she had that perspective of Barbados versus Jamaica.
Exactly. So having those people in front or before you to actually show you there's a way to do things, I think takes a lot of the scary part out of it for other people.
To show that somebody else could do it.
Yeah. Like you know, have a mentor to look up to, kind of. So.
Closed mouths don't get fed, by the way.
That what?
Closed mouths don't get fed. That's my other motto. So ask.
And shall receive.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. Thank you so much, guys, for this insight. What I've gained from it that I didn't really think about was the cultural identity. I didn't know that, you could be ostracized based on your accent or your race. And hopefully through time, especially now that we're going through a presidential election, which is horrible, we can see some type of difference in race.
Maybe.
Fingers crossed. And artists and West Indian women protect our black women. And going forward, like we can motivate people to, as Nandi said, go for it. Like, do what you want to do. Think outside the box. You see your friends pushing you and motivating you to hold your purse and go out on the stage. That's something that we can all motivate everybody to do. So thank you so much, guys, for being here. Is there anything you want to talk? You think we should talk about Nats? What do you think we should talk about Nats?
No.
So we had Men in Dance. Before we had the Art of Performance with Aisha. We had Pursuing What You Love with Jaleesa, Tila, and Lana. And the first one was How We Pivot. So we pivoted in COVID-19. So I think we have another thing set up, and it's just the tourism industry in Barbados as it relates to dance.
Yeah.
So that would be nice.
Would be a good one. So market it to... Because for me, is how do we get into corporate and show corporate how we can be useful
and paid,
to them, right? Exactly, and make a living off of it.
The way we should be paid.
Tourism and marketing and making a living off of it in Barbados as well.
Yeah.
So that if you do decide to come back here or whatever the case is, you can still make a living off of your love.
So that's the next thing, marketing and using tourism or making dance a form of tourism. So.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, the best way to do that obviously is, as Nandi's already doing it, to like structure soca dancing to make it a technique. Because for us, we learn different techniques. For modern, we learn all these different ballet techniques, and they all have names and they're documented. Like that's where we need.
I
to
also do think
it.
We have techniques here.
We
outside
sure
of
have techniques.
Mr. Carson has his own technique that he's come up with, and it's a mixture of landship and Afro-Caribbean folk. So that's something that we could then put on the platform. Trotty, always got a trotty technique. We don't know what it is, but it's something unique to us.
We definitely have those techniques,
right?
And we just have to document it.
Yeah,
and let people
before
know.
These people pass away as well, because they're getting old. So, and that's no shade to them. This is a real thing. People die.
It's true.
So we should preserve everything that we've learned and move it forward and show the world. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. Get home safely, and I look forward for you to seeing this podcast. And drop your comments in the not in the bio, but in the comment section below. Click in my bio and let us know what you want to talk about or give your feedback on this discussion. Thank you.